Hello and welcome. Today, we are talking about something very useful: how to use English for public transportation. When you are in a new city, you may need to take a bus, a train, or a subway. But how do you ask for a ticket? How do you know where to go? That's what we'll help with today.
That's right. Public transportation is a great way to travel. It's cheaper than taxis, and you don't have to drive. But it can be confusing if you don't understand the words people use. So, let's start with buses.
Good idea! A bus is a big vehicle that carries many people. You can find bus stops on the street. A bus stop is a place where the bus picks up and drops off passengers. If you want to take the bus, you need to wait at the bus stop. When the bus comes, you have to wave your hand or raise your arm to show the driver you want to get on.
And when you get on the bus, you need to pay. Some buses take cash, and some use a bus card or a ticket. If you don't have a card, you might have to pay with exact change, which means you need the right amount of money.
That's very important. Sometimes the driver doesn't have change, so if your bus ticket is $2, you must have $2 exactly.
After paying, you find a seat or stand if there are no seats left. If you stand, hold on to a handrail or a pole so you don't fall when the bus moves.
That's right. Buses can stop suddenly. Now, how do you know when to get off?
Great question. When your stop is coming, you press the stop button or pull the stop cord. This makes a sound like a bell, so the driver knows someone wants to get off.
And then the bus stops, and you walk to the door. Sometimes the front door is for getting on, and the back door is for getting off.
Yes, and always say thank you to the driver when you leave. It's polite.
So now we know how to take a bus. But what if you need to ask for help?
Good point. If you're not sure which bus to take, you can ask, "Excuse me, which bus goes to the train station?" Or, "Does this bus go downtown?"
Those are great phrases. Another one is, how much is the bus fare? That means, how much does the ticket cost?
Yes, and if you want to know when the bus is coming, you can ask, "What time does the next bus come?"
These are very useful phrases for traveling. Now, sometimes buses can be late. If your bus is late, you might hear people say, the bus is running late or the bus is delayed.
Right. So, taking the bus is easy when you know what to do. You wait at the bus stop, get on the bus, pay, sit or stand, press the stop button, and get off at the right place.
Exactly. And asking questions can help if you're not sure.
Now that we've talked about buses, let's talk about another common way to travel: trains. Trains are great for longer distances, and they are usually faster than buses.
Yes, a train is a vehicle that runs on rails or tracks. You can find a train station in many cities. A train station is a place where trains stop to pick up and drop off passengers.
That's right. When you go to a train station, you need to buy a ticket before getting on the train. You can buy a ticket at a ticket counter, from a ticket machine, or even online.
If you go to a ticket counter, you can say, "One ticket to the airport, please." Or, if you're traveling with a friend, you can say, "2 tickets to downtown, please."
Yes, and if you don't know which train to take, you can ask, "Which train goes to Central Station?"
That's a good question. Another helpful phrase is, "What time is the next train?" This will help you know when the train is coming.
Now, let's talk about types of trains. Some trains are local trains, which stop at many stations. Others are express trains, which only stop at a few big stations.
Yes, if you're in a hurry, you should take an express train because it is faster. But if your stop is not a big station, you might need a local train.
After you buy your ticket, you need to find the right platform. A platform is the place where you wait for the train.
That's important. If your ticket says Platform 3, you need to go to Platform 3 and wait there. If you're not sure, you can ask, "Excuse me, where is Platform 3?
Good phrase. Now, when the train arrives, you wait for people to get off first before you get on.
Yes, always let people off before you enter. Then, find a seat or hold onto a pole or handrail if you need to stand.
Some trains have reserved seats, which means you can only sit in that seat if your ticket says so. Other trains have open seating, where you can sit anywhere.
That's a good point. And remember, On some trains, you need to validate your ticket before getting on. That means you put your ticket in a machine that stamps it with the date and time.
Yes, and if a conductor comes to check your ticket, you show it to them. The conductor is the person who works on the train and checks tickets.
And just like on buses, you need to know where to get off. You can look at a train map or listen to the announcements.
If you're not sure, you can ask, does this train stop at City Center? Or, how many stops until Central Station?
Good phrases! And when you arrive at your stop, take your things, walk to the exit door, and step off the train.
So, taking a train is simple if you know what to do. You buy a ticket, find the right platform, wait, get on, sit or stand, listen for your stop, and get off.
And if you don't know something, you can always ask. Now that we've talked about buses and trains, let's talk about another way to travel in the city, the subway.
Yes, a subway is an underground train. Some people call it the metro or the underground, depending on the city. It's one of the fastest ways to move around a big city.
That's right. Subways have many lines that connect different parts of the city. Before you take the subway, you need to look at a subway map. The map shows all the subway lines and stops.
And each subway line usually has a color or a name to help people know which one to take. For example, in some cities, there is a blue line, red line, or green line.
Yes. So, if you need to go somewhere, first check the map. Find where you are and where you want to go. Then, look for the subway line that connects those two places.
After you know which subway line to take, the next step is buying a ticket or using a metro card.
That's important. Some cities have single tickets, which you can use one time. Other cities have rechargeable cards, where you add money and use it many times.
You can buy a ticket from a ticket machine or a ticket booth. If you use a machine, you can select your destination and pay with cash or a credit card.
If you need help, you can ask, how do I buy a subway ticket? Or, where can I get a metro card?
That's useful. Now, after you buy your ticket, you need to go through the turnstile.
A turnstile is a small gate that lets one person enter at a time. You scan your ticket or metro card, and then you can go through.
That's right. After that, you need to find the right platform for your subway train. There are usually signs that show the train direction and the last stop on that line.
Yes, if you are going north, look for the platform that says northbound. If you are going south, look for southbound. The same goes for east or west.
Now, when the subway arrives, wait for people to get off before you get on. Sometimes subways can be very crowded, especially during rush hour, the time when many people go to work or school.
That's true. If the subway is full, you can wait for the next one. Subways usually come every few minutes, so you don't have to wait long.
After getting on, you can sit if there's a seat, or you can stand and hold onto a pole or handrail.
And it's good to know some subway rules. For example, some seats are for elderly people, pregnant women, or people with disabilities. It's polite to give up your seat if someone needs it more than you.
That's true. And try to keep your backpack or bag close to you, so it doesn't take up too much space.
Yes, that helps everyone have more room. Now, how do you know when to get off the subway?
Good question. You can look at the electronic screen inside the train, which shows the next stop. Or you can listen to the announcement that says, next stop, Central Station.
If you're not sure, you can ask someone, does this train stop at City Hall? Or, how many stops until downtown?
Those are great phrases. When you reach your stop, walk to the exit doors. Some subway doors open automatically, but some need you to press a button or pull a handle.
And after you get off, follow the signs to the exit or transfer to another train if you need to switch lines.
Taking the subway is easy once you know how it works. You just need to check the map, buy a ticket, go through the turnstile, find the right platform, get on the train, and listen for your stop.
Exactly. And learning some simple phrases can help if you ever feel lost. Now that we know how to take the subway, let's talk about some common problems people face when using public transportation.
Yes, sometimes things don't go as planned. Maybe the bus is late, the train is too crowded, or you don't know where to go. Knowing the right English words and phrases can help in these situations.
Let's start with a common problem: getting lost. If you're in a new city and don't know where to go, you can ask someone for help. A good question is, "Excuse me, how do I get to the train station?"
That's a useful phrase. You can also ask, which bus goes to the airport? Or, is this the right subway for downtown?
Yes. And if you don't understand the answer, you can say, "Can you repeat that, please?" Or, "Can you say that more slowly?"
Another problem is when the bus or train is late. If your bus is not on time, you might hear someone say, "The bus is running late," or "The train is delayed."
That's right. If you want to ask about the delay, you can say, "Excuse me, do you know when the next bus will come?"
Good one. And sometimes, buses and trains can be canceled. If that happens, you might hear, "The 5:30 train has been canceled."
That's frustrating, but there's always another way to travel. If your train is canceled, you can ask, "Is there another train to the airport?" Or, "What time is the next bus?"
Yes. Now, let's talk about another problem: missing your stop. If you don't get off at the right place, don't worry. You can ask someone, "How can I go back to Central Station?"
That's a great phrase. And if you're on a bus and not sure when to get off, you can ask the driver, "Can you tell me when we reach Main Street?"
Yes, bus drivers are usually happy to help if you ask politely.
Another problem is not having the right ticket. Maybe you bought a bus ticket, but you need a subway ticket. If you're not sure, you can ask, "Is this ticket okay for the subway?"
Good one. And if you need to buy a new ticket, you can say, "Where can I buy a train ticket?" Or, "How much is a ticket to the airport?"
Another thing that happens a lot is crowded buses and trains. Sometimes there are too many people, and you can't find a seat.
Yes, if the bus is full, you might hear, "Sorry, no more seats available." That means you have to stand.
And if you're in a crowded subway, it's polite to say, "Excuse me," when moving past people.
Good point. Also, when getting off a crowded train or bus, you can say, "Excuse me, I need to get off here."
That's helpful. And finally, let's talk about safety. When you're in a crowded place, always keep your bag or backpack close to you.
Yes, and don't leave your things on the seat. If you lose something, you can ask, "Did anyone find a black backpack?"
And if you see something strange or dangerous, you can tell a worker, "I think there is a problem on this train."
Great advice. So, even if things go wrong, you can always ask for help.
Exactly. Just remember these simple phrases, and you'll feel more confident using public transportation. Now that we've talked about problems and solutions when using public transportation, let's go over some tips to make traveling easier and more comfortable.
Yes, the first tip is planning your trip ahead of time. If you know where you're going, check a bus schedule, train timetable, or subway map before you leave.
That's important. You can look online or use a transportation app to check when the next bus or train will arrive. Some apps also tell you if there are delays or service changes.
Yes, and if you are not sure, you can always ask someone, "What time is the last train?" Or, "How often does the bus come?"
That's a great point. Another tip is to carry small change or a transport card. Some buses and trains do not accept large bills or credit cards.
Right. If you need to pay with cash, make sure you have coins or small bills. If you don't, you might hear, "Sorry, we don't give change."
And if your city has a reloadable transport card, it's a good idea to add money in advance. This way, you don't have to buy a ticket every time.
Yes. Another important tip is arriving early. Sometimes, buses and trains can be a few minutes early, and you don't want to miss them.
That's true. If you arrive a few minutes before the scheduled time, you'll have time to find the right platform or bus stop without rushing.
Now, let's talk about riding the bus or train politely. It's important to wait in line when boarding and not push ahead of others.
Yes, and when you get on, it's polite to move to the back of the bus or train if it's crowded. That way, more people can get on.
Another polite thing to do is keep your voice low. Some people want to relax, read, or listen to music while traveling.
Right. And if you're listening to music, don't play it too loud. Use headphones so you don't disturb other people.
That's a good one. Also, If you're eating or drinking on public transportation, be careful not to leave trash behind.
Yes, some buses and trains don't even allow food or drinks, so it's always good to check the rules.
Now, let's talk about giving up your seat. If you see an elderly person, a pregnant woman, or someone with a disability, it's polite to offer your seat.
That's a great habit. You can say, "Would you like to sit here?" if you want to offer your seat.
Another thing to remember is watching your belongings. Always keep your bag, phone, and wallet close to you.
Yes, if you have a backpack, it's better to wear it on your front or hold it in your hands when it's crowded. This helps make space and also keeps your things safe.
Now, one last tip: be patient. Sometimes public transportation is slow, crowded, or delayed, but staying calm and polite makes the journey easier for everyone.
That's true. If a bus is too full, just wait for the next one. If a train is late, take a deep breath and try to relax.
Public transportation is a great way to travel, and if you follow these simple tips, it will be much easier and more enjoyable.
Exactly. Learning a few key phrases and planning ahead can make your trip smooth and stress-free. Now that we've learned so much about public transportation, let's do a quick review.
Yes, we talked about different types of public transportation like buses, trains, and subways. We also learned important words like bus stop, train station, platform, and ticket machine.
Right. And we practice useful phrases like, "Where is the nearest bus stop?" "Which train goes to the airport?" And "How much is a ticket?"
We also talked about common problems like missing a stop, getting lost, or having the wrong ticket. If you ever need help, you can always ask, "Excuse me, how do I get to Central Station?"
Yes. And don't forget polite phrases like, "Excuse me, can you help me?" and "Thank you." They can make your trip much easier.
We also gave some important travel tips, like checking the schedule, bringing small change, waiting in line, and watching your belongings.
That's right. Public transportation can be a little confusing at first, but if you remember these words and phrases, it will be much easier.
Yes, keep practicing, and soon you'll feel comfortable using English on buses, trains, and subways.
And if you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this video with your family and friends.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Goodbye.